Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at the craziest confessions. Yeah, let's just get right into the video. I am a wheelchair user and I was stopped by a homeless woman in Vegas who was very distraught about me crossing the street. She claimed she'd seen another wheelchair user get run over and killed on that particular road and that I should always travel with someone abled for visibility purposes. She got hysterical at that point and I excused myself, promising to be careful. I was unsettled. I googled the incident later. Her mugshot came up in the search. She was the driver. Well, that's so sad. Like, obviously she didn't want to crash into someone, but after crashing into someone, she has like PTSD. Like, it affected her to the point she became homeless. Man, mental illnesses are scary. I used to sell cable. You would not believe some of the shit 70-plus-year-olds, old people, will confess to you. I asked an older woman once what streaming services she used because I was trying to recommend her an internet speed. She takes a deep sighing breath and casually goes, "My father used to sneak into mine and my sister's room at night. Mother told us to be proper girls and not air our dirty laundry to the neighborhood." I was just staring and all I could think to say was, "So Netflix, Hulu?" What the heck? Well, the mother's freaking messed up. I guess because that happened to them, they needed to get it out, right? They needed to tell somebody before they died. Well, not a direct confession, but a coworker told me about a lawsuit he was involved in that sounded interesting. So I googled it to see if I could find the court case. Instead, I found an article where he had gotten caught and arrested for filming minors. What? His own lawsuit? He was telling someone, "This lawsuit seems pretty interesting, you should look into it." But it was him. What? A really good friend of mine had been out of contact traveling the country, hitchhiking, sleeping around on people's couches, camping out in the desert, etc. And so when he came back, we all got together to hang out, and it basically turned into a small party. At some point, he just casually drops that he has a court date coming up and explains it was because his ex is suing him over the fact that he beat his infant daughter nearly to death sometime before he left. He then just tried to continue on with the party like nothing happened. I don't think I ever heard of anyone who was there hanging out with him again after that. What the frick? Why would he just casually drop that? Like, he'll be like, "Yeah, I beat my infant daughter because she was such a, to his friends. He thought his friends would be on his side. Is he crazy? He's lucky he didn't get stomped, man." The sweetest friend of mine, when I was probably around 15 years old, casually mentioned how difficult it was to get her dad's out of her hair. I don't want to say that because that's nasty. I asked more about it and found it was a reoccurring thing and that her mom knew. I went straight to my parents with it and they contacted the right people. Good. I hope the dad's in prison. Hope he's happy there. My grandmother was born in 1918 in Germany. She survived heavy bombings in World War II. Our family never talked much about the bad things. It was mostly light-headed anecdotes. I was around 9 when we were watching a documentary with my parents and grandma. It was about the bombings, and when the term firestorm came up, we kids were curious. My parents started explaining how a big fire can draw so much air that it creates a strong wind that pushes the flames even further. My grandma suddenly got that 1,000-yard stare and casually said, "I have seen people burn like torches." We said, "What?" And my grandma snapped out of it and said, "What?" I guess they had to come out, but she didn't even realize saying it. Yeah, if you're that traumatized, it's gonna come out one day. Like, you have to get it out. Jeez, the fact that she still probably remembers it so clearly to this day, that's sad. My partner and I were talking to my grandma and it was a very normal conversation. Somehow the topic of guns came up and she shook her head. "Oh no, I've hated guns since I came across my friend raped and murdered in her garage. She was shot with her own gun." We just sat there in silence like, what can you say? And then very quickly changed topics to talk about her puzzle. Whoa. Jeez. So that's all she thinks about now when she hears the word guns. Whoa. Can you imagine just sitting there? Like, what do you even say after that? Like, oh shit. What? What do you say? When I was in prison, they had to clean out a cell after a man had been stabbed to death by his cellie. I was in the cell next to that. When the guard put him out, him and another were laughing about how the deceased man cried and couldn't even speak English, and that they waited to pop the doors until the attacker stopped. I still hear that shit when I try to sleep. Oh my goodness. That is freaking scary. was at a club one time with a group of work friends. One dude grew up super religious and it was his time really drinking. He tearfully confessed he was gay and probably forgot the next day. I still follow his socials and he's still deep in the closet. So he doesn't know he confessed? Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad, his friends are like keeping it a secret for him too. Those are good friends. I mean, except us. Playing a board game with a friend who had become a drug dealer told me there was a night where someone had ripped him off and he and his friends went after him, leading to a car chase. The other car hit a bystander and left the victim paraplegic. He felt really guilty about it, would obsessively watch news reports of the incident over and over again. I found out he had died of alcohol poisoning about a year later. Damn. Oh, that is sad. I was talking to a very good friend of my now deceased father. He said that many years ago he talked my father out of murdering my mum. He believed she was cheating on him, even stalked her on the way to college with a gun in the car. She wasn't cheating. Also, they already had kids at the time. I'm 100% sure what he told me is true. Got chills thinking what my life would have been had this occurred. My mum is the greatest person I know by a mile. I'm glad she's still here. Aww. I'm glad the mum is alive too. Why did he think she was cheating? Like, he was just paranoid? He was just in his own head? I was talking to a guy a year after we got out of high school. His father was an LA Metro cop. He told me casually that he and his buddy would put on suits, take his dad's Crown Victoria, badge and gun, and hassle prostitutes in Hollywood. He said hassle, but I think he meant get free services. When I saw him at the 10-year reunion, the only one I attended, he became an LA Metro cop, but was getting a divorce, was on his third police force, and was being sued by 3 people. He said they were suing the Depps, but were also suing him personally, and he didn't think he would be a cop for much longer. I didn't ask for details. He told me all this in 30 seconds. Then he said, "So what have you been up to?" So what have you been up to? I mean, I just gave you my whole life story. What about you? I'd actually just reply with, "Oh, nothing much." "Oh, okay, yeah, well, have a good one. Bye." My kindergarten-age daughter was invited to a pool party with her classmates. I was chatting with a few mums when one of the mums mentioned that she was sad because she's had to get rid of her Great Dane because he was too aggressive. In the most casual storytelling way possible, she told us that the woman from the Great Dane rescue hadn't really seemed to believe her, the mum, about how aggressive the dog was, until he tore her, the dog rescue woman's, arm off. What the hell? But then again, all dogs, you should still be careful. At the end of the day, dogs have their own little instincts, and if they think you're a danger to them, they will attack. It's just better to be more careful. No matter how much you love a dog, how much you love dogs, it's still better to be careful. I love dogs, and I'm still saying this because you never know. You actually never know what would happen. Well, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!